Let's talk about the corporate laboratory, the special project, the innovation pilot, the future of work task force. It starts with fanfare, a bold mission, a hand-picked team. They're called pioneers, vanguards, the tip of the spear. Now, fast forward 18 months. Where is that team? Often it's gone, dissolved, its members scattered, exhausted. The brilliant insights they generated, probably filed away in a report. The groundbreaking process they designed, maybe being rolled out by a completely different department. This isn't an accident, it's the most likely outcome. The pilot wasn't designed to be a new department, it was designed to be a controlled experiment. And in any good experiment, you need something to test your theory on. That something is the pilot team. Their unofficial title, the Sacrificial Buffer. How do you know you're in one? Here are the symptoms. Symptom 1. The glorious mission meets the shoestring budget. You're tasked with reinventing customer experience or cracking the code on data. Sounds vital. Then you see your resources. It's like being asked to build a rocket with pocket change and a soldering iron. You're told to be agile and entrepreneurial. That's corporate code for you absorb the financial risk. Symptom 2, you get special permission to break the rules. You can skip some approvals, hire faster, but this freedom is a trap. The moment you stumble, that same freedom will be used against you. We gave them every opportunity, and look what happened. Your privilege is just a loan with very high interest. Symptom 3, you are a human sensor array. You drown in data tracking, weekly reports, and process documentation. You're generating endless feedback for HQ. But what do you get back? Vague, slow, philosophical guidance. You're not being steered, you're being observed. You're the lab rat running the maze, and they're taking meticulous notes on every wrong turn. Symptom 4. Your success doesn't mean your survival. Even if you hit your targets, your team's future is never guaranteed. The goal isn't to build a lasting unit. The goal is to extract information. Once the data is mined, the mine can be closed. You're a temporary organ grown for a specific test, then removed. So why does the system set up its most hopeful projects to be disposable? It's a cold, 3-part calculation. Part 1, the pilot as a human firebreak. The core business, the money machine, must be protected at all costs. You don't perform risky surgery on a healthy heart. So when a scary new idea comes along, a radical compliance rule, a total tech overhaul, they don't apply it to headquarters. They find a distant, less critical outpost and say, you try it first. Think of the GDPR data rules. Big tech companies didn't roll them out globally on day one. They used their Irish or Luxembourg subsidiaries as the canaries in the coal mine. If the rules caused a meltdown there, the damage was contained. The pilot absorbs the explosion, so why is it always them? What if there's more to this than just being a sacrificial team? What if you could change the rules? Let's talk about the true cost of innovation. Part 2, the pilot as a failure data farm. Theories need real-world testing, and real-world testing needs real-world failure. But failure in the core business is catastrophic, so they need a safe place to fail. That's your pilot. A bank testing a crazy new AI fraud system won't use it on their billionaire clients. They'll test it on a new digital app for students. Why? The students are less valuable customers. If the AI goes haywire and locks everyone out, the fallout is manageable. The student team endures the chaos, the complaints, the bad press. The bank's central team gets the priceless data. C, the algorithm fails spectacularly when faced with X. The pilot's pain is the system's PhD. Part 3, the pilot as a political shock absorber. Real change threatens people's power, budgets, and turf. The resistance can be fierce. So if a CEO wants to flatten management hierarchies, they don't start at HQ. They pick a struggling factory in the middle of nowhere. That factory becomes the battleground. All the anger, confusion, and sabotage happens there. The executives watch from a safe distance. If the factory revolts and productivity collapses, they can pull the plug and say, well, that location had unique challenges. The reform idea itself survives. The pilot factory took the political bullet. Here's the cruel twist. The very things a pilot team does to survive and prove its worth actually mark it for sacrifice. You hyper-focus on flashy metrics to show progress. The system notes team thrives under intense pressure. But here's the twist. What if you could turn that short-term strength into long-term leverage? Let's break down how the system sees you and how you can outsmart it. You work 90-hour weeks and call in personal favors to keep things running. The system logs, unit demonstrates extreme grit under resource starvation. Great data point on human endurance. Terrible prognosis for your team's health. You beg for help when you're stuck. The system sees experimental subject entering stress phase. Observe coping mechanisms. Your struggle isn't a problem to be solved. It's a phenomenon to be studied. So what happens when the experiment ends? The system has a playbook, but the game isn't over yet. What if I told you there's a way to break out before the final page is turned? Stay with me, and you'll discover how. Option A, the autopsy. A task force interviews you, writes a lessons learned report, and then disbands your team. Your knowledge is captured. Your community is dismantled. You were a source of information, not a future. Option B, the glass box. Your pilot is declared a success and its ideas are copied, but your team is put in a center of excellence, a fancy cage where you maintain the ideas but have no real power or budget. You're institutionalized. Option C, the memorial. The pilot is shut down as a valuable learning experience. You get a pat on the back, your story goes into the company Innovation Hall of Fame, and everyone moves on. Your failure is repackaged as cultural virtue. The ancient, brutal logic here is about sacrifice. No complex system gambles its core. It identifies expendable tissue, parts that can be lost without killing the organism, and uses them to test the environment. The pilot zone is that tissue. Its suffering is not a mistake. It's the point. In modern terms, running a pilot is like buying a financial option. You pay a small known price, the cost of the pilot team, for the right but not the obligation to unlock a huge future gain. If the pilot fails, you let the option expire. You write off the cost. The team's hopes and hard work are just a line item on an internal P&L, R&D expense. So what's the takeaway? If you're in a pilot, understand the game. Your passion is real, but the system's calculation is colder. But here's the crucial question. What if you could turn this cold logic to your advantage? What if understanding the game gives you the edge to break free? Let's dig deeper into how you can do that. We're not saying don't join pilots. We're saying know what you are. You're not just a pioneer, you're also the potential sacrifice. See the protocol, and you can navigate it. But this logic begs the next question. If the system is so good at finding ways to dump risk, then what happens when there's no convenient buffer? What does it do with people? Stay tuned because you're about to find out. Who gets handed the risk when there's no convenient geographic buffer? Who are the human equivalents of the pilot zone? The answer is obvious, universal, and waiting in the onboarding queue.